Hello. Today I'm going to go over using the VNTANA Mesh Optimizer desktop application, which will allow you to optimize your 3D assets locally on your computer. To begin, you can select your assets. So you can either come over here and browse to the directory containing the assets you wish to optimize, or you can just drag them and drop them into the section here. You can do one asset, or you can select multiple assets at a time. What this will do is it'll just run through each individual asset one at a time and output the optimized version of that 3D file. Next, in the settings section, to begin, we have this 3D model checklist here. This is just a brief overview of what is expected and required with the Mesh Optimizer from your asset to make sure that it doesn't fail in optimization or just produce results that you weren't expecting. All of this information in more detail can be found on our website as well at ventana.com, but we just provided a brief summary here to refer back to whenever you're running this. Next, you can select your 3D optimization pipeline. What these represent are just a kind of default selection of optimization settings based on various factors from our investigations into 3D models from, for example, softwares like Browse Workflow, Keyshot, or they are just specific to various use cases like only wanting to bake stitches, wanting to preserve meshes and UVs, things like that. Next, this relates to the advanced settings here, but you can also save presets of the optimization settings that you wish to use. This just saves them locally and allows you to, whenever you're running this, select a preset and automatically load those optimization settings instead of having to tweak them every single time. Coming down to the actual settings, though, we have various options for optimizing your asset, from removing geometry, putting limits on how much geometry and how destructive those actions could be. Applying Draco compression. One thing to note is that the Mesh Optimizer will not accept GLB or GLTF files that have Draco compression, but you can have the output set with Draco compression. Now, you can also optimize the textures with various settings related to the compression. You can set your compression level to 0, which will be lossless, meaning no compression, or 5, which will be the most lossy that it will do. You can also add bake ambient occlusion to it. You can change the 3D model scaling and also the pivot point of your 3D model. Finally, once you have your settings selected and you're ready to optimize, you will come over here and select where you want the actual optimized assets to end up. So I'm going to just select this folder here, and it'll tell you if the path is too long. It'll show you down here so you can see and make sure that you selected the right path. Before starting, you can also indicate whether or not you want FBX and USDZ to be output as well. By default, the Mesh Optimizer will always export a GLB, but you can include FBX and USDZ in that as well. You can see here, these are the assets that I added. And as the process is going, you will be able to see the status of each individual one, indicating that it's processing, succeeded, or failed. You can hit start and it'll begin processing those. And what it'll do is it'll, in each individual folder that it creates for the assets, you will have the output log. And then once the asset is done processing, you will have each of the formats that you indicated. Like I said, GLB is the default, but if you indicated FBX and USDZ as well, you will see those in here, as well as any error logs that might be included if there were issues. And that is about it for the Mesh Optimization desktop app.